are educators of the educators, you know? So for me, someone that can educate an educator is someone that is a pioneer in our industry, someone that will leave a legacy in our industry forever. The next presenter and educator that is coming up has been in our industry for 27 years, is an award-winning barber, has won more than $45,000 in and out of different hair shows around the world. This is the owner of the only accredited hair school in PA, the only one. And honestly, I don't think it should even be called the hair school, because the stuff that this guy is putting out is just crazy to be given to students. Learning about social media, marketing, digital marketing, how to grow your business, how to monetize, and, just everything, cutting hair, blending, putting hair pieces, everything. You guys all have seen all over social media. I know that for a fact. So guys, I need you guys to stand up. I want you guys to get ready. I want you guys to know that we got the one and only Mr. Tyrik Jackson.
Thank you guys for just investing in yourself and being here. On a Monday when people are traveling back, good to see Ox, one of my instructor trainees here. He's graduating in a couple weeks, and he's here still invested in himself. Eric's passing out some flyers for apps if you want some. Just put your hand and he'll give them to you. Bird introduced me, and I appreciate that, because there was many nights that I'm sitting next to my wife in bed on a FaceTime, and I gotta be careful so I'm not moving the phone side to side. And Bird's just asking me question after question after question after question about how I do what I do, why I do what I do, because he wants to do some of those things. And so Jay had asked me to come and teach, and he said, I want you to teach about education. And I said, awesome. And so he said, people want to know about opening a school. And I said, great. And he said, but they also want to know about education and influencers. What's the difference? And so my presentation today is school right for me? How do I know if school ownership is right for me? And so before I get into actually talking about the school part, so I brought this big old thing. Y'all want to talk about school? We can talk about school. This is just one of many. And I'm going to give you a better visual about this in a second. So I don't think y'all want that. So let's start off with, obviously, if you're not following me on Instagram, I am Tyrik Jackson, every Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. How many of you guys watch Tyrik Talk Tuesdays? I love you guys. How many of you are sharing it with other people? I love you guys. We're going to be doing some more giveaways. Also, I sat down a month ago and talked with Chris Bazio, Tune 45 team, and they were saying, Tyrik, you need to be on YouTube. And so today we launched a YouTube channel. And so you're going to get going on in the industry and in the school, in my work life, and what's happening. So we're bringing that to YouTube. We launched that today. So our first video, I actually had YouTube for years, just never really used it. Was like, I didn't know how to distribute and create the content. So now, in today's age, I've learned how to do it, and we just prioritize Instagram for so long because I think it is the future. But I also need to get connected where other people are learning. And so Bazio encouraged me to do it. I sat there, we had some great conversations, and I talked with Eric and my team, and he said, hey, we're just gonna start launching. We'll just launch it Monday at the education class. So guys, you can subscribe. I got like one person on there, so your subscription would be great. Thank you so much. Two, he got two, he said I got two, awesome. So educator and influencers. I think all of us are influencers in some way, shape, or form. If you're a parent, you're influencing your children. If you're somebody in the neighborhood, you're influencing kids. Whether good, bad, or indifferent, you are an influencer. People are watching what you're doing, and you never know who's really watching what you're doing and who you are. A lot of times you don't know that until they say something like, hey, you remember that? Because they've been watching you for a long time. So you influence. And so the word influencer for me, and I got the Grammy for Influencer of the Year, but thank you. So the word influencer influencer for me had a negative connotation for a while. And the reason why it had a negative connotation is, you think of this right here. What is she known for? She sucks. Well, she sucked in a movie or something. You're bad. Let me rephrase that, I'm sorry. She sucked as an actress in a, is there a right way to say that? So influencer, what is her thing? She was on the Barber Walters show, and on the Barber Walters show, Barber Walters sat her and the Kardashians. I don't know if you've seen it. And while she was talking, they said, hey, can I ask you a question, Kim? She goes, yes. She said, you're around basketball players and musicians and artists and fashion icons, and you have no talent. You don't believe me? Go on YouTube, search Barber Walters, Kim Kardashian, and you'll find it.
You're not lying, I've seen it.
And she said, you have no talent. How does that make you feel? So for me, influencer, I was like, I don't want to be the Kim Kardashian. Maybe I should start something in a movie or something, right? Stupid. I don't want to be that. So, but I had to give you that perspective to share this with you. When I think of an educator, Gary Vee may put a bad taste in some people's mouth because of his profane language and he's just straight up and raw. But what I look at is not the profane language. I look at the work. I look at the fact that he's a practitioner who is in a school or in a business. His business is over $100 million, VaynerMedia is worth over $100 million. He built a wine library for his dad, and the story goes on. If you've been following Gary Vee, you know. But he's actually put in the work. So he's a practitioner. That's what he does. And what he does as a practitioner is he develops. He develops the people around him. He develops a team. He develops other companies. So he's actually doing the thing. So when I see myself not like a Gary Vee in the sense that, I'm going to be out there and just start cursing and just doing all this stuff. That's not what I see. But I look at the work that he's doing. And I want to be impactful by educating and giving out this information that's going to be able to be helpful to an industry of people that need it. And I know that our industry is in need of the information that was given today. So when I look at my barber school, I'm a student of the game. I went to school, I did cons, I did barbering, I opened up a shop, I managed, I apprenticed students, I did all that stuff. I worked in the school, I gave up my career as a barber that was booked Monday through Saturday from 9 to 9. I was the barber who was lying to his wife every single day. I'll be home in a minute. I'll be right there, babe, don't worry. One more, I got one more. You know what I'm talking about. That was me. And I gave that up because I was so busy doing it. I absolutely loved it. I was traveling, I was teaching long before social media, before we were recording and putting stuff on YouTube and Instagram. I was at shows competing. I remember when I first met Bird. And we were at a show in Atlantic City. He stopped me, he goes, yeah, man, you got this blue hair. And I'm like, what's up, bro? And he's like, man, you're cool, man. And I'm like, thanks. What do you do, man? I'm like, I got a school, I cut hair. It's like, oh, you cut hair? My name's Bird, man. Nice to meet you. Sharp fade, I got these shears. I want you to take a look at them. And I start breaking down the shears. And he's like, you know a lot about shears. And I'm looking up because I was looking down at him. So I'm trying to give you this visual, right? So I'm looking up because this is how our conversation was going. And he goes, you know a lot about shears, bro. How do you know so much about shears? I said, I've worked with shears for years. So I started telling him stuff about the different types of shears. He says, so are these good quality shears? I said, they're okay. And he's like, dang, man, you're shooting me down. I'm like, no, I don't know what you want to do with the shears. Then we started talking about it. I said, nah, they're a great shear for what you're trying to do. He goes, oh, man, I feel better now. Right? And then he said something about his hair, and I pulled out my phone. And I opened up my phone, and in the beginning, I went all the way to the back of my photos, and it was like photos from 2003. And a lot of stuff that you see Hair God Zito doing with the color, you remember? I showed him pictures. He said, bro, you had hair? And I said, yeah, and I showed him all these photos. So I'm sharing that story with you because in 2005, I had glow-in-the-dark hair. I won $25,000 competing with glow-in-the-dark hair. So it's not new. But before social media and the ability to put it out there, to get it out there much quicker, I was doing those things. So when I stepped away from the industry, I lost a part of what Gary Vee is doing, putting the content out right away and making it happen so you can get it in the now. I missed that section. But while I was missing that section, I was building something else. And by being a practitioner, I was learning how to do other business. I gave up my clientele to work at a school for $20 an hour. You're making over 100-something grand a year, you give it up to go $20 an hour. Because the goal and the sacrifice was, guess what? I want to open up a school one day, so I got to give up something to do something else. And so there was some sacrifice that was made, family sacrifice. You know, I remember telling my wife, we're going to open up a shop. We were getting ready to get married. She said, no, we're not. I said, no, we're going to open up a shop. She said, you're not going to mess up my wedding. I need my cake. We need a photographer. I said, we're going to do all of that stuff, I promise you. But we got to open up a shop first. And we did that. And I remember when I was going to work in a school, for a period there, I was an at-home dad. You know, the shops were doing great. I'm an at-home dad working, and you have your kids doing your thing, and I'm taking the kids here, and dinner was done at Thursday, all the way Monday through Thursday around 5 o'clock, so she didn't have to worry about cooking because I was an at-home dad. And then I said, I'm going to go work in a school. And she was like, what's that mean? I said, well, we're going to open up a school one day. Okay. Been here before. That means I can't do some of the stuff I'm doing, laundry and cleaning and helping out with the kids like I can. We're going to have to make some sacrifices and some changes, which wasn't a good, comfortable 2 months. About 3 months afterwards, she was, I don't know if I can do this. We need to figure this out. Sacrifices. And then I promised her that I would open a school, and when I opened the school, she'd quit her job, she could go back to school and do what she wanted to do. And she did. Yeah. We did it. It hasn't been easy. It wasn't always fun. It was very frustrating and challenging, but I held the promises that I kept, and we're continuing to do that and supporting one another. She's been very supportive behind the scenes for what I do. So if you want to be an educator or an influencer, this is something that you have to do. I encourage my students to do this on a regular basis, and I encourage you to do it. You can take a picture of this if you like. Put your name, it's a mind map. Put your name in the middle and write who you are. I'm selfish, I'm educated, I want to be famous. I want to be brand focused, I want notoriety. Who's that sound like? The Kardashian. How about this person? Educated, I like to serve people, impactful, I'm teachable, and I'm willing to make sacrifices. Who does that sound like? He said, hey, I like that. So that sounds like me. So thank you. Someone said it sounds like me, Tyrik, but someone said it sounds like me, whoever you are. And yes, it sounds like the Gary Vee. It sounds like the people who, if this is you, then maybe you are someone who is interested in opening a school. Because it is going to be a lot of requirement. It's going to be a lot of sacrifice, a lot of things that you're going to have to do. Some of the things that were discussed earlier on your finances, your taxes, how to build credit, how to establish yourself is important. You can't open a business without the type of money you're going to need. And so if you don't position yourself with your finances and understand what that is like, it's going to be very difficult to do that and maintain it over a long period of time. Does that make sense? Yeah. Some of you are struggling to make the bill month to month. You know my bill for the school, just the school, a month. Someone take a guess. You heard it. You know it. He must have been watching the Tyrik Talk Tuesday or something. $42,000 a month is what I spend out. And then sometimes I look at my personal bank account, and I look at my wife, and she's like, are we going to cut this cable off, or what are we going to do? Maybe we can get a sling box or something. I'm being real with you. Because we don't need the cable, we need to keep the school going. You understand what I'm saying? That what we're doing at home, as long as the kids is taken care of, we're all right, all that other stuff is cool. We don't need the vanity stuff. And I like nice things, so that was a challenge for a while. But if you want to be in a school, how are you an effective educator or teacher? Engagement is key. If you can't engage in real life, you can't engage in social media. It's just, it's challenging to do. I'm a social person for real. And so it's easy for me to respond. How many people DM'd me and got a response back, ever? How many people DM'd me and did not get a response back? You liar. He went like this though, he did a pump fake. You did? Is that Van? I know you lying, because you used to harass me. So, phones. We're on our phones. There's current trends, curriculum. Let me tell you something about curriculum. Curriculum is one of the most important things in having a structured school. Whether you're doing a class on stage, you have to have a curriculum for that. Whether you're doing a series of classes, or a month, or a year, or even running a school. It's the skeleton, it's the bones or the framework of what you're going to be teaching. Okay, does that make sense? Most people underestimate curriculum, and every time I talk to someone who wants to teach or is an educator, they say, hey, I say, well, what's your curriculum look like? Oh, we teach belaying. Oh, we teach pivot point. Like, oh, that's it? That's the material. That's not the curriculum. How are you distributing that material every day and keeping the students every day engaged in material? I will promise you this, and I know a lot of people, we did a YouTube video, we're here, I saw, we did a video about school and apprenticeship. I'm a product of apprenticeship, and I went to school, so I know both worlds. But I know the importance of structure, and that is key. If you don't have a sound curriculum, you don't have students that are interested in being at school, and school sucks. It just does. So how do you make school exciting and engaged? You need engagement. Collaboration is important. So many of us are in competition. He said I was the only school in PA that was accredited. Actually, I'm the only school in the Philadelphia area that is accredited. So within 28 miles from where my school is, there are no other schools. There's a huge need for good quality education. And when he was saying that I was the educator's educator, and I said I got the influencer award, I believe that my education is influencing a group of people that say we need to do education better. And I hope that when they're watching it, that's what they're saying. We need to do it better. When I get on stage, I need to do it better. When I get into a classroom, I need to do it better. I need to volunteer my time at the school so I'm not complaining that the school is putting out poor quality education. You can't be the shop owner and complain that the school sucks if you're not going down and helping to make some change. Shame on you. Because all you're doing is complaining about a flawed system. Go and assist, help to revamp it, make it easier, make it better for you so that you can hire the type of people you want to hire. And if you think that the system is flawed, then maybe you need to do something about it. And maybe that's step one. I did. It was a flawed system. We had that conversation. I went in and I said, okay, what am I going to do? So I gave up my career as a barber to work as an instructor at a school. But I've been doing it for years as an apprentice instructor. I've been training people for years. I've been traveling all over the world and at different shows teaching. Now I'm going to sacrifice and go and clock in and clock out and deal with students and do all this stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. The reason why you need to understand that, and you have to be teachable, because you understand the responsibility it takes to learn. If you're not teachable, it's very challenging to sit in front of somebody who doesn't know how to say what they want to say. I'll give you an example. Tyrik, I want to talk to you real quick. What's up? Let's have a seat. Let's talk. Now, I feel that, like, what I'm saying, like, when, sometimes when I'm, like, trying to, so I feel, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? No. Help me to understand what you're trying to say. All right. So I'm not getting the, I'm having a lot of problems at home. Oh. So it's not what we're doing here. It's something outside of that. You know the responsibility it takes to learn. If you want to be a teacher, you have to be able to be teachable and moldable so that you can help to cultivate the type of learners that you need for your programs. I don't care if you're on one stage 1 week in a month or every weekend or once a month somewhere else, it doesn't matter. You need to be able to connect with that audience. Let's talk a little bit about different teaching styles. And I got to give you some of this before I get into some of the school stuff. Class participation, demonstration, recitation, and memorization. These are things that they teach you, old ways of thinking of how to teach. So yeah, you need class participation. You walk around the room, hey, and what do you say? Blah, blah, blah. Someone says something. So you're getting people to asking certain questions, and they were asked something like, what happens to the hair when you wet it? What bonds are being affected? And one person says, H bonds. And it's 1/3 of the hair's total strength. And then people are like, 1/3? What are you talking about? They just don't know it. They may have learned some of it to pass an exam, or maybe they just don't have license and they don't know, but they know practically what it looks like and how it feels, and so they do it. So there's a demonstration side that helps them to retain and kind of recall some of that information. Class participation is key. Having demonstrations. The other day we were talking about at school, and I'm not in front of the students anymore, I'm actually in front of the educators. Because I need to make more of me in the school. We need more of what I'm doing in schools so that schools can be better and we can have effective learners and practitioners so that we can hire them. When I look at a student to me is not money. They're not someone that comes in and, oh, this is a $17,000 check. When a student comes to me, a student is material. They're coming and they're saying, hey, this is what I have to offer. Can you make me into this? Whatever that is. So they come as material. It is my job to take that material, mold it, okay, and create what it is that they want to be. They become my product. When I put that product out on the marketplace, you know who my consumer is? Anyone guess? Who? No. No. Who? Shops. The shop owner is my consumer because he wants my product. He says, man, I'm getting ready to open up another barbershop. I need 3 more of the last one you sent me. I take a student, I take that material, I create a product, I put that product on the marketplace. When I put that product on the marketplace, the shop owner then says, I need more. If you had good product and you've ever used it and you ran out of it, you went frantically going store to store before Amazon. And you went looking for it, right? Yeah. Now Amazon, oh, this person, oh, they're cheaper over here. I need 10 of them because I don't want to run out. You ever have like a favorite lotion, then they discontinued it, so you try to buy it out? Look, girls know, I know. I got this lotion that I absolutely love that my wife hates. So I can't wear it, I just look at it like, And one day I wore it, she's like, you got that lotion on? I'm like, yeah. She's like, nah. So, that's how I look at a student. I tell my instructors all the time, if you're not training the type of people that you want to hire, you're not doing a good enough job. Am I right? If you're not training the students to be the type of people that you want to hire, you're not doing a good enough job. That takes a lot of work. Okay? Especially when you're dealing with adults. Right? So you got classroom management. Oh God, what's this one? Behaviors, attitudes, disruption, inactivity, and boredom. I'm going to jump straight to inactivity first. You know we have inactivity in schools? Anyone want to guess? Okay, he says lazy student. Okay, that's one, yes. Say that again? Instructors not doing their job.
No clients.
What's that? No clients. What? Bad. My guy. Now, I like what Ox said because we have a great curriculum. And if a student's not doing something, then that means that the instructor is not doing his job and the curriculum's not being followed. If you don't have a strong curriculum, then you're focused on clients. We need a bunch of clients in here because if there's clients and the students are happy cutting hair. But what do you do when it's slow? Because how you practice in school is the same way you're going to operate when you get out in the field. So if you have a student sitting down on his phone all day long, what do you think he's going to do when he goes to the shop?
Same thing.
And then the shop owner is going to be like, I don't want any of those students you sent me the last time. Because all they do is sit around and do their thing. Now, what if you have students that are actively doing stuff on a regular basis, right? They're working on their mannequin, client comes in, they do what they got to do with their client, they get back to their mannequin work, they're sweeping up, they're refilling the barbicide jars, they're cleaning the mirrors, they're wiping the base down, and they're understanding business as a whole and how to run a shop while they're doing it every single day. What do you think they're going to do when they go into the shop? The same thing. Unless the owner allows them to sit on their phone and do nothing. Behaviors. We all come from different experiences, different walks of life. Attitudes. Everyone has an attitude about something, whether it was the game last night or their girlfriend. Let me give you an example of something. You want to run a school, you want to own a school. And I'm going to get to it in a second. But I need to share some of this with you so you have an understanding of the daily minutia stuff that takes place in running and functioning a school. If you went to get surgery, right, say you had to get heart surgery or whatever, and the doctor, he picked up his clothes from the dry cleaner, and when he went to put it on, it didn't fit properly because he gained too much weight. So he's frustrated, he's got to put something else on to go to work. And then when he goes outside, his car's flat, so he's got to get an Uber or whatever, and then now his car is getting repaired. And then he goes to the hospital, and when he gets to the hospital, His nurse, who was supposed to assist him in the surgery, isn't there, so he's got to get another one to do it. Do you think you want that surgeon? If it was you getting the surgeon, do you want that surgeon that day? Why?
I'm tired.
He's dealing with too much stuff to be working on my heart or my brain, right? Now, let's take this scenario. You got a guy who gets up, his clothes fit just right, he gets to his car, he's got his fancy BMW, his parking space is available, it's a bright sunny day. He goes in and everybody's there, his coffee is ready. I'm ready for surgery. Is that the guy you want working on you?
Yeah.
Absolutely, because he's had a good day. It's not like that every day in the school. It's just not. There's so many people with so many issues, and everybody has something going on with someone else or something else. So here's some of the ways you can combat that. One, you got to identify what the issues are. There are triggers that trigger attitudes. And the only way you can identify those types of things that happen is if you know your students. Let me tell you what I mean. I know me. I know who I am. I know who I am. We did a little mind map. You guys said that was me. That was me. That's who I feel that I am. I think that some of you believe that that's who I am. And so that is me. When I go to school, I also know who my students are. I know who has the attitude problem. I know who has the baby mama drama. I know who's dealing with financial issues. I know my students, not just from that, because we do mind maps with them so I can understand who they are. There's three things. People think, so you encourage them to go to the expo so they can learn, and guess what they learn every single time they went to a show? So this is my C motion right here, right? And I hold the clipper like this. And then sometimes, I wish the camera was on me because I would show you, they're standing in a way because they want this light, but you can't see it because their back is at the head. Huh? Because they aspire to be an educator, but they haven't learned it, so they're only doing it the way that they've learned it. Yesterday, education class was phenomenal. If you were here at the barbering education class yesterday, it was awesome. I thought it was one of the better examples of classes. I mean, I was able to curate some of the questions and make sure that it was getting distributed right, because I'm an educator who understands what it takes to be on the stage, and I know when questions come, how can we get the question to be answered in a way that's effective so they can finish their job and you can get your answer, your question answered. So it made it easy for me to do that because I've done it. I've been on the stage, I've also been the student. Being a practitioner is important. You can't just be an investor and say, I want to open up a school, we're going to make a ton of money, and that's going to be the kid. Here's the deal. If you can't manage your barbershop, and you can't manage your staff, and you can't manage your own personal time and personal dedication, you can't open up a school. I'm sorry to inform you of that. If you came here to learn how to get a school, I'm going to tell you, you got to figure yourself out first. You can't do it. It's almost impossible to do. So most people who complain about schools want to do it a different way rather than doing it a way and fixing what's already there and maybe adjusting a few things and adapting it. We do continued education the entire program. They're just not learning how to pass state boards. They're just not learning how to pass state boards. My instructor trainer who's here, I'm not going to go real deep, but I'll share something with you. He was in the military. And when he came home, he was a civilian. He was trained to go to war and fight. That's what he was trained to do. To come home and not be able to do what he was trained to do, very frustrating. Would you agree? Yeah. If someone said you can't cut no more ever again, that's a problem. And he was frustrated, depressed, didn't know what he wanted to do. Fine, I'm living off government money, it's great. I got full benefits because I was at war, great. Guess what happens? My wife gets pregnant. I better do something with myself. I want to be the best dad possible. He said, I'm going to come to school. And I'll tell you what he said to me when he first came in. He said, I've never cut hair before. I have no idea what I'm doing at all. Can you train me? I said, yeah, no problem. I'm proud to say that not only did he graduate, pass the state board exam, not only did he go and work at a shop for a while and was the most successful barber at that shop, he recently just opened up his own shop while going to school for his instructor training program so he can be an instructor at the school eventually, right? And he just opened his shop in a gym. These are the testimonies of students that come through a program And he's a guy who had no understanding of hair, but loved the experience that he got the first time, that he made a financial decision to slow down his money coming in to go back to school. Sacrifice. But he had a good experience the first time around. And if you had a bad experience, I don't want to go back over there. Why would I want to go back over there? That sucked. You want to be impactful. You know why? Because the type of programs that we have for barbering industry, how many of you guys are a product of second chances? Barber gave you a second chance at life. Come on, make some noise for yourself. Right? You know, I'm not going to call out a lot, but convicted felons, no family. Barbering has become your family. You got a second chance at life to be a contributing person in your society. Like you know, when they said you weren't going to be anything, your teacher said you're going to be nothing. You may have dropped out of school, but you went back, got a GED, so you go. It's a place for second chances. Students aren't clients. I talked about that. Traditional versus today. That's a big problem. People say that schools are flawed because there's new things happening today that aren't happening, that weren't before. And some of the schools were designed so long ago. So, you know, there's all kinds of things. We talked about social media. Bird kind of mentioned he's been watching what I've been doing with my students, and you see a collection of just other stuff outside of cutting hair. Community. Our students go into the community. They service VA homes. They service retirement communities. We're servicing old folks' homes. This is on a monthly basis. This is not like, oh, we do this every now and again. Every month we service 3 different companies that we go and we offer our service. Some days our freshman students are cutting 70 people a day. And the shop might get, 70 a week. We're trying to invest in our community, character building. Students come in with attitudes and they just have no idea. Some people you look at them like, this guy is never gonna, I can't help this guy. If you have that attitude, maybe school ownership's not for you. What I just shared is about 49%, nope, less than that. I would say it's less than 10% of what I do on a daily basis. I'm not up here to tell you that owning a school is attractive. I'm telling you that owning a school is very sacrificial, it's time consuming, it's a lot of energy. 10%, when I say 10%, let me share this with you. You see this big thing right here? We're the only accredited school. This is NACAS, our accrediting body. Just to give you a visual, this thing right here is this page. It's this page. The font on it is like 3. It's 256 pages of stuff that needs to be done in order to have a successful school, to have an accredited school that you can offer financial aid to students. We're going above and beyond what the minimum requirement is. This is 1 page. How many of these do you think I have at the school? And you want to own a school? You got to put in some work. I know I did. I made some sacrifices. I quit my job. I had a shop that was providing income for me, but I quit my job. So let's talk about the types of schools that there are. And I have a few minutes, and I'll have it open for some Q&A. Title IV funding, that's where you can offer financial aid. Most people think that in order to have an accredited school, you got to wait 2 years. Let me back up. No, it's more like 5. It's more like 5, and if you don't have a budget for 5 years, it's going to be very, very challenging. Everyone says, oh yeah, I know if I go to an accredited school, it's going to take me about 2 years. No, you're wrong. It takes about 2 years before you begin to apply. Once you apply, it takes another 1.5 years, and then you go through some meetings and some other stuff, and you got to go to visits. And I go to these visits, and it's funny. I'll go, and you know what the guys that are at yeah, I'm open up a school because I'm bad, this is what I do. And I'm looking at them, and guess what they do on the break? 6-hour classes, non-stop, school, going through all of this stuff for 3-4 days. And you know what they do at the bar? They go take shots, and on lunch break, they come back smelling like weed. I'm like, this guy doesn't want to have a successful school. He doesn't. He wants the facade of a successful school. But he's not disciplined to not do the thing that's going to affect his school. Attitude is a reflection of leadership. And if you're doing that thing, what do you think the students are going to do? What do you think the staff is going to do? The boss goes out and smokes weed on a regular basis. If I come to school teaching my students high, well, you going to be mad at me? Accountability. Having a Title IV funded school is accountability because there's standards that you, and that's what this is. This is just our standards. Just standards. When you have your own school that you don't have anyone who's accountable, it's self-paced school, non-accredited school, and there are some successful schools that are non-accredited, you have no regulations, you have autonomy. You can do it however you want to do it, you do it your way, make it a Burger King type school, fine. Identify the type of school you want, this will determine the plans that you're going to need to have a successful school. Now, what I can tell you is this. If anyone is interested in opening a school or having a deeper conversation about school ownership, we're in a position now that we're thinking of opening more Premier Barber Institutes in other areas. And I would entertain the conversation with you if you're very serious. So I didn't want to paint this picture of having a school is great. Having a school is very challenging. And if you're up for the challenge, we can have the conversation. We can have the conversation. I want to open it to some Q&A, quick, because I know I have a few minutes before our next speaker. Yes. Got one over here.
I was just curious, do you have that book for sale?
This book for sale. So basically what I do is a training on how to open a school. So there is a package. It's not like I'm going to sell you the book. Because if I give you the book, what are you going to do with it? You can read it, but you got to learn how to implement it. So it's all about implementation. It's not just having all the rules. It's how you implement it. So there's a training that goes, and I don't want anyone, just so you understand, I don't want you to buy some package from me that teaches you how to, or doesn't even teach you. It's all the information you're going to need to have a successful school, and then you don't know how to do it. How many bought video games and don't read the instructions? You just learn how to play it, right? He said, yeah, that's me. Who else? Another question? Yes?
Yes, I had a question on whether or not you have any type of schooling for to become an instructor, or any type of schooling to be able to open up your own school.
I do. So that's what I was talking about. So one of the things that we do is we would entertain the conversation first. My school does have an instructor training program. Ox is one of the products of one of our students who's getting ready to graduate. So we do have an instructor training program, and I'm in charge of the instructors. So that's my role, that's my job. That's the role that I've given myself to do. I don't need to be in front of the students anymore. I need to be in front of the instructors. But we can have a conversation on how to have a successful school. There is some training that will be involved. It will require me to come to you. We'll look at locations. We'll go through the financials, the plan. Because it's not just, here you go, open up a school, good luck, give me 10 grand and we're gone. That's not I want a relationship with you. If you're going to put my Premier Barber Institute together in your area, I want to have that relationship with you so that way when you go to Premier Barber Institute in Kentucky, or you go to Premier Barber Institute in Virginia, or you go to Premier Barber Institute in Philadelphia, that it's the same type of program. Okay? Another question?
As far as licensing, as far as the different states, if I go invest in the Premier Barber Institute and bring it to Connecticut, how do you go about that?
So that's why we need a conversation, because there are certain regulations in different states. So in order to have like your accreditation in a different state, there would be what is called a pilot period. So you would open a school, function a school, run a school, and it would be a pilot period before we would even be eligible for financial aid, because they would have to come and review your school, and it would have to be identical to the way we do school as well, if it's going to be one of our programs. And you would be the owner. You would be the owner, but we would have that conversation on how that looks. Next question. Yes?
So obviously you've made a lot of sacrifices.
A little bit higher, I'm sorry.
Obviously you've made a lot of sacrifices, and you find this very rewarding because you are still doing it, but what is the most rewarding aspect that you want people to know about if they're looking into this? Like, what do you find your purpose, like, that you value?
So, what do I find, like, as someone who would want to do the same thing I'm doing?
Yeah, because you're telling us it's hard and it's difficult and it ain't easy and you gotta give up a lot, but what is that one thing every night you go to bed and it is like, this is why I do this?
Has anyone ever seen The Prestige? It's the two magicians, they're fighting against each other, at the end he dies, and he says, do you know why we did this? He says, you don't know, do you? You don't know. That was the look on their faces. And as barbers, when you search, it's like that, okay? So, thank you. Rewarding thing, or stylist, or whatever it is that you do as a practitioner, when they look at their, they go, oh, I like that. Is that not rewarding?
Hell yeah.
When a student comes to me and says, Tyrik, you've changed my life. You changed my life. Because I have no idea what people are going through until I learn them. And I see what